Welcome to another edition of Critical Screen. It's a show where we run you through the best movies ever made, debatably.
We should just pick movies that are like,
That's why I threw out the idea that we should just start reviewing old Golden Girls episodes.
But everyone loves Golden Girls, so.
No, but we're going to be really critical about it. Like that scene with Blanche just makes no fucking sense.
Why is Blanche such a bitch?
Yeah. Every week we talk about a movie. We're tearing apart the Star Wars saga first. We did the beloved episode 1 and the beloved episode 2.
The classic.
And now we're on to maybe this one's a good movie.
Maybe this one is actually an enjoyable piece of entertainment.
Not that the others aren't enjoyable.
No, but I have to like
this.
I have to turn on conceptual mode to enjoy the previous ones, which I don't mind doing that. That's how I spend most of my life. But in this movie, I can just kind of turn my brain off and just be like, this is just a fun movie.
It is fun.
But yes, this is a Revenge of the Sith, which is a nice callback to Revenge of the Jedi, which is what Return of the Jedi was originally called. So it's a nice little callback. It's a nice callback.
Got a poster of Revenge of the Jedi. The original. More
like poser. Shut up. So where are we going to begin?
Let's begin. The movie opens with a text, a scrawl, if you will.
A scrawl.
TM.
I swear that's a real word.
Probably. The opening scrawl basically just is like war.
What's it good for?
Turning Jedi's bad.
Sing it again now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this intro. It's probably one of my favorite intros in all the movies. Honestly,
it's you can tell that they took a lot of criticisms from the past 2 movies.
Yeah.
And they were like, no one's gonna hate this intro because it's just gonna. I really like how
in medias res action.
So you see they're above Coruscant, right?
Yeah. It's like
they're above Coruscant, and you see a big cruiser, Republic cruiser, and you see 2 Jedi starfighters.
Well, you hear like that cool drum that's like doom 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 doom, and then it's just like the music revs up, and you see the 2 Jedi fighters fly towards this huge battle.
Well, so what I really like is this camera. The camera at the beginning, it has this effect where you're seeing this huge Republic cruiser, and you're over the top of it. So you don't see really anything else. You just see these 2 starfighters, and then like as soon as the starfighters clear, you just think that they're just flying alongside this thing, and then as soon as they clear the cruiser, the camera just looks straight down. And there's just this insane battle going on. There's this one cruiser that is already, they've given you the idea that this cruiser's huge, and then you just look down and you see like dozens of those same cruisers everywhere, and like lasers, and
I just love that. Like, I mean, it sucks that like we didn't really get to see pretty much any of the Clone Wars in the last movie, but like they took. It's like at the end of the last movie, it was like Clone Wars begun, okay, and then like the next thing we see is like a giant battle over like the headquarters of the galaxy, and it's just like, oh, this is serious.
And yeah, it's a pretty well done and pretty cool space sequence. It's really fun to watch. It's just pretty much Anakin and Obi-Wan flying around.
Yeah. Obi-Wan's like, I don't like flying.
I don't like flying.
Flying's for droids.
Vulture droids. They introduced 2 new types of droids in the opening. Yeah,
I love the little vulture buzz droids.
The buzz droids and the vulture droids are different. The vulture droids are on the cruiser that are like sapping energy, and then the buzz droids are the little ones that are attached to the starfighter.
I like the buzz droids because I like the idea of like, it's a pretty smart way of like getting rid of an enemy's like navigational equipment. Just put little droids that will kill their droid.
Just little parasite droids.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
Yeah, they're flying around. They're trying to get them off, and then they take cut R5's R4.
It's R5.
It's R4.
It's R4.
Yeah,
it's R4.
Yeah, because an R5
R5s are the black
head or the trapezoidy head, and then R5 is red but looks like R2. Yeah. Okay, I mean R4. So it cuts off R4's head, and then we see And then he's like, "Get these fucking buzz droids off!"
Yeah.
And
of course, Obi-Wan doesn't care. He's just like, "Oh,
droids.
my R4, yeah, whatever."
Get these motherfucking buzz droids off this motherfucking plane. And then, of course,
Anakin's just like tries to scrape them off with.
Well, he's trying. I think at first he tries to shoot, or he's
he
saying
tries
he's
to
going to
shoot
at him. And Obi-Wan's like, "Don't do that. That's crazy." And he's like, "Okay,
right.
well, I'll just slam into you then."
Yeah.
And then he kind of scrapes them off or whatever. And then
they climb onto his ship, and then R2, like a badass, is just like zap 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 zap.
Which is
he's like the only capable droid like in the history of Star Wars.
We'll get to that. R2 is very just like, it's just situational. Like sometimes he's like the most useful droid ever, and sometimes he's just like a big trash can. Like it's like he just chooses when he can use some of his abilities. I feel like just always cover everyone in oil and
you know all these reviews. I have a feeling you just don't like droids. Are you a droid racist?
I've said that before.
Oh, okay. Well.
Except for the medical
on my
droids, face. I love the medical droids.
Oh, yeah, I love the one that fixes Luke, and he's like, "Are you okay, sir?" Man.
Yeah.
He has a little, like, microphone face. I like that guy.
No, I like R2. I don't... I do feel like some people like him way more than I do. Like, he's like up there. Like people are like, "What's your favorite Star Wars character?" And it's like, not Darth Vader or Luke or Obi-Wan, or it's like R2D. I'm like, come on. Really?
I get it, though. I mean, Luke is my favorite, but I get R2. Like
he's charming, but
he's charming. He's the straight guy. You know what I mean? Like he's just a normal droid that everyone overlooks. I hate you. But like no one takes him seriously. He's just a normal character, so to speak. But like he pretty much like I don't know. He constantly helps everyone all the time, and no one really gives him any thanks except Anakin. Anakin's the only one in the whole series who really gives a darn about droids.
Actually, they're constantly giving shit to R2 all the time.
Not Anakin, okay? Don't you?
Well, no, yeah, you're right. Not Anakin, but everyone is always.
Everyone else is.
They're always giving shit, except for in the trash compactor. But like, that's like sort of, I don't know. Anyways, they do. They're always like, "Where's R2? Where is he? Where is he?" And then he's finally there. They're like, "Oh, finally he's here. God, where were you?" And he's like, "I don't know. I can move like 1 mile an hour." You assholes.
I like the part like when they finally land into the into what's his name Grievous's ship.
Yeah.
And they're like going down and Obi-Wan's just like, Where's R2? What? Because he's supposed to like activate the elevator or something.
Yeah. Well, the elevators were down or something. So they land on the ship. They flip out and they kill a bunch of battle droids.
Part's awesome.
That part's awesome.
They crash land, flip out.
Again, this is clearly the movie that this whole intro scene is like. We know. Here's a really cool starfighter scene and a really cool like lightsaber thing, action scene. And guess what? Your boy R2, we're gonna give him shit to do as well, like some actual like cool stuff.
He becomes like a murder droid, and he just like he has like lasers and like flamethrowers. It's like this doesn't whatever.
Well, he has the electrical, the zapper, which he always has.
Yeah.
But yeah, the jetpacks. That's new.
No, he had the jetpacks on the legs in the last movie.
Oh, that's right. He uses them on like the trash compactor, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they take down a bunch of the droids, and then they get into the elevator, and the elevator stops. It stops, and so they're like, "Hey, R2, we need you to help do the elevator."
And like Obi-Wan's like
hiding, and he's like. And then, but it's like his speakerphone, and it's like
why? He's a droid. Can't you like communicate electronic? Like,
yeah, it was really. I enjoyed it because it was just like one of those. It was I thought it was a funny scene because it was just like he's trying to be inconspicuous.
Funny you should mention this because this opening little, moment, up until they land is like this is the only. It's the only light-hearted part of this whole movie. Because after that, it's just darker and darker. But we'll get to that. But I like how Obi-Wan's just like freaking out. He's just like, "Where's R2? What's R2 doing?" And Anakin's just like, "Be nice, okay?"
Yeah.
At one point he's just like, he's trying his best, Master.
Anakin cuts open the top and he heads out, and then R2's trying to do the elevator and it starts going down. And then Obi-Wan's like, I said go up, and like, you're going backwards the wrong way. And then of course he finally like fixes it, and then goes back up, and Anakin gets on the thing, and of course they do the whole thing where he's like, I feel like there's a trap, and then he's like, let's spring it, you know, like we know at this point we know that's a trap, like duh.
Yeah. That's Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like,
and then this also shows just how absolutely useless battle droids absolutely are, because they walk into that elevator and there's like 10 of them in there, and they're like hands up, and they're just all like, they're both looking at each other like, this just like one cut of our lightsaber, and they're all dead, like, and then that's what happens. And then they get into the R2 does his whole two of the elite battle droids. What are they called?
Droidicas, the rolly ones.
No, not the rollers, the like
the big the ones that look like the ones that look like the Cylons from that show.
Super battle droids.
I just call them Cylons because they look like Cylons.
Those two of them are like fucking with R2, and that's when he blows oil all over him, and then they're like, what the fuck? And then R2 just ignites it with his little jetpack thing, and sets them all on fire. I don't know why a droid would stay on fire. I feel like once the oil burned off, that's a real nitpick.
It's space oil, okay?
That's a real nitpick, though. So then we get into the trap, as you will, which it is a trap, but not in the way they were thinking. And we see Palpatine, strapped.
Oh, help me!
Help me! Oh, I don't help me. And Dooku is there, and he's like, good of you to come, blah blah blah. And they're, he's like, give me your weapons, and you're like, yeah, right. And then they start fighting. Again, they're like, we know you want to see Jedi battles. We know you want to see a starfighter at the beginning, like all this stuff right at the gate. They start fighting, and Dooku throws Obi-Wan with his Force into some shit, and he falls on the ground, and then he like uses the Force to like bring this thing back down on him, which again is probably maybe one of my main issues with the movie, is that pretty much looks like it crushes his legs.
Yeah, that would have.
And then he's fine afterwards. Totally fine. Yeah. I still don't get it. I like why I even backed up that scene and watched it again, because I was like, do I miss something? No, it comes down on his legs, and it literally, it's a whole structure.
Yeah, it would have destroyed his bones.
I mean, his leg, he would never walk again. And don't get like, I don't think Jedi healing had anything to do with this. And then, of course, and then
that moment is a case of movie-itis.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I mean, it's weird that he's not even at least hurt. Like, when he wakes up, because he's carrying it out or whatever, he wakes up and he's just like fine. But anyways, Anakin's fighting. He fights Dooku solo, and he's telling him that his powers have doubled last time he saw him. And Dooku's like, "Ooh, I sense a lot of hatred and fear and anger in you. Like you'd be a sexy little bad guy." And he's like, "Fuck you!" And then as soon as he says that, he taps into his anger, and you can tell his fighting style totally changes from the underhand, mid-range, the mid stance that like most Jedis have, and he goes to like the high stance, like the just like the bam bam. He just starts hitting him, right up until. Yeah, he kind of goes at that. When it's very reminiscent of when Luke is like, like in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's very Luke dark side right there. And of course it ends in a very similar way, where he bashes him until he cuts both of his hands off.
I love that.
And it's such a cool scene, because when he does that, he just seamlessly, once he does it, he catches the red saber and then has the scissors.
Yes. I love that.
The scissor cut. Something very interesting to note in this early part is this whole a Jedi fight scene in the beginning has almost no music to it, and it's also it has very odd sound design, because the sound is very low in the mix. So like even when they start fighting, and even when the thing falls on Obi-Wan, it's very it doesn't sound very crunchy or punchy or something. It's very weird sound design early in the movie. It's just something I noticed. Like, and I was
I didn't notice that.
That's kind of weird. It doesn't feel like as punchy as most of some of the battles feel like when like two sabers clash. Like, it's like, early on, there's like a weird lack of punchiness to the battles, and there's almost like no music in the early, but I think that's intentional, obviously. And then he's got him by the scissor, the old gladiator, right? Russell Crowe cuts that dude's head off, and of course we got this real heavy-handed callback to Return of the Jedi, and you also have like one, and he's like, do it, and then he's like, but I'm a Jedi, and he's holding one blue saber and one red saber, it's fine. I like it.
If you're looking for subtlety, if you're looking for subtlety in Star Wars, I'd look elsewhere.
especially in the prequels.
Especially in the prequels. Pretty much everywhere but the originals. The originals had at least some semblance of subtlety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do love that. I love that part where he's, Palpatine's just like, do it. And then you just see Dooku look over and he just has this look on his face, just like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Well, it's like Dooku realizes at that moment that
he's just been a tool. No, he knew that was. I mean,
Darth Sidious.
Yeah, he knew that was Darth Sidious. He was Darth Sidious's. Yeah, he was Darth Sidious's apprentice. He was his number 2.
Does he know?
Yeah. He looks over because he's like, really? You can kill me off, Master? And then
so Dooku knew that this was all like a sham, that wasn't Chancellor Palpatine, that's actually Darth Sidious. Okay, I never actually picked up on that, but so when he says do it, it's the first time you hear Chancellor Palpatine use the Darth Sidious voice.
Use the Sidious voice.
And you're like, oh. And it's
getting real.
It's lovely. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, Ian McKellen, right? No, that's Ian McKellen. Ian McDermott. Right?
Ian McDermott? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ian McDermott. He's so great.
He's a treasure. And we'll get to another thing in this movie I noticed about his acting that I never quite really thought about before, but I love. But anyway, so yeah, and then when he says do it, it's almost like he imbues him with some extra hatred, just like force connects with him.
I think he's just drawing out with
because he's sitting there, he's like, I shouldn't do this, and then he's like, do it, and he's like, and he's just like, and then you even see like. In his eyes, he's like, "Why did I fucking do that?" That was the easy way out.
It was the easy way out because I mean, like even Palps, he said Palps. I'm just gonna call him Palps.
I'm down with it.
Me and him in my notes, I just write Palps because it's too long to write Palpatine. Well, Anakin's like, this isn't the Jedi way, and Palps is just like, he's too dangerous to be left alive. Which is it's echoed again later in the movie. With the moment with Mace and them where he's like, this is not the Jedi way, and he's like, he's too dangerous to live. But I like that moment. It's a nice little bookend. It's just a well-made movie compared to the last two. It's just more. It's more like consistent within itself.
It's also extremely more immediate. Sure. It's more noticeable right off the bat, this movie. Like each one of these movies, it's because they were all made in this like renaissance of figuring out how CGI works. And so like the first movie to the third movie, it's like each one has such a jump in like visual effects and just like quality of color palette. Like this movie right off the bat, the color palette is so much more appealing. Like just the I don't know what it is, just something about like all the effects, even the lightsabers all just look so much better in this movie than they do in the last few, the last two. Something else I noticed that it just a lot more appealing to me. But yeah, so then we kill Dooku, all that happens, and then they free Chancellor, and then they go to escape.
Well, and Helps is just like, leave him. That's like his first little nudge at him.
He's like, he's only going to slow us down, and I'm just sitting here like, dude, all he's got to do is pick him up, and we're good, man. Like, is it really?
But I mean, that's Palps just testing the waters, because I mean, his whole one of his long plans is to turn.
He knew he wasn't going to leave him there, but he was just like, he
just plant that in his head,
Yeah.
He's like, do I need this guy? Nah, yeah, I do. He's my mentor. He's my brother father figure.
So then we get to the hole or whatever, the fucking the front of the ship, and you got General Grievous, because
I
they
love
capture
Grievous.
him, and they even said they capture him, and they're like, we're smarter than this. How did this happen? They're like, R2 will be here, and then of course Obi-Wan bashing R2 again. He's like, fucking droid,
Yeah.
and then R2 comes flying in like Kramer.
Yeah,
I like that part.
yeah, I like that too.
So
He's like being chased by droids and stuff.
He comes sliding in like Kramer, and and then they get arrested. They get brought to the front of the ship or whatever, and Grievous.
General Kenobi.
He's like, you think you can fucking be a bitch? And then he's like, you can do nothing in my ship, you stupid bitch. And then of course the obvious thing that happens is when you have those two Jedi and like shitty little handcuffs or whatever, they're gonna like cut through them and then kill like half the people in the room.
Because it's like Grievous is a super badass, but he's surrounded by impotence. It's just like
the only things that are even remotely like decent are the two like
the ones with the
vibroblade wielding
the vibro staff people,
droids, the Imperial Guards of General Grievous, if you will. And then they do kind of a faux battle, and then General Grievous, he's like, yeah, fuck you, I can breathe in space, and he like throws his thing into the window, and then he flies out, and then he uses his grappling hook, and he gets in an escape pod, and he jets out at the crashing ship at that point.
Leia should have used a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Too soon?
No. I notoriously don't like that part.
We'll get there. Which is so funny because I don't mind that part at all. of all the parts of that movie, right? Like that part, I'm like, whatever.
That's like my anyways. So
we'll get to that eventually.
So then Grievous escapes into one of the pods, and then they are trying to crash land it, and then Obi-Wan's like, you know how to fly a ship? And he's like, we don't need to know how to fly a ship. We're not going to be
landing. We're not going to be
a lot of flying going on. And then it breaks in half. It's like only half a ship. And then they crash landed on Coruscant.
I love the fact that, like, I don't know, Anakin just like, he's like, yeah, I'll just land this half of a frigate on fire. Like, it's basically just a meteorite at this point. It's just a hunk of metal just crashing down towards Coruscant. He's just like, yeah, I can do this, I think.
Well, I mean, Obi-Wan hates flying, and Anakin's a thrill seeker, so it makes sense that he would take because Obi-Wan would be like, I don't even like.
I really do want a like buddy cop like spin-off with just like, them two. I really like.
You have the level-headed nice guy, like, thrill-seeking.
It's basically Lethal Weapon when you think about it. And the thrill-seeking, suicidal, crazy person, and then you have the old guy who's seen too much. He's just just like he just wants to get through. I'd watch that.
Obi-Wan's too old for this shit, except he keeps doing the shit that he's too old for in every sequel, which just like
Lethal Weapon. Stop sitting on toilets with bombs in it, Murtaugh. Okay, I don't. Or Riggs.
Riggs.
No, he's Murtaugh.
Riggs is the white guy.
Yeah.
Moral Gibsorn.
Moral Gibsort, I think is his name. He's from New Zealand, I think.
Nah.
And then Austria. Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, they land. Obi-Wan still doesn't trust politicians. He's like, you know what?
Yeah, go. You're the poster boy. You did good. I do bad. I don't want to.
I'm gonna leave. He really didn't do much. Obi-Wan didn't really do much.
Sure, he fights one of those guys with the staffs.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. So they do that, and then he goes and he meets with pretty much everyone except for his wife.
Yes, she's hiding in the wings, waiting for him.
Yeah, he meets with everyone, and before his wife, and then she's like, Annie, I love you forever.
I have news for you.
I'm pregnant as fuck. And then he's like, oh, this is happy moment. And she's like, we can't find out.
It's really sad though, because it's like you could tell he's like, he says like, this is the happiest moment of my life. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right, because this is the last time you'll ever be happy.
This is the last time you're going to smile.
Yes. It's pretty messed up. Like, I don't know. I just love that part of that aspect of the movie. Like the first part is so like adrenaline, like fun, good chemistry, good action. It's just like this nice moment of like, this is the happiest moment of my life. And then banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, so and then it cuts to General Grievous on an unknown planet talking to Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious is like, shit. He's like, shit's going all right. He's like, what do you mean? Fucking Count Dooku was killed. Like, that sucks. He's like, it was a necessary sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
And then
and he's like, I have a new.
Yeah, he's like, I have, and this is right after. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to say about Ian McDermott's acting was when they're in the ship and they're like gonna crash land it and shit, and pretty much with it during that whole escape sequence, it's Ian McDermott playing Chancellor Palpatine, pretending to be scared.
Yep,
and it's so great.
That's why Ian McDermott's such a genius, because like. He's like the Shakespearean actor. Like he just does play. Like he doesn't do movies, but like what kind of theater actor wouldn't want to play a supervillain who has to like wear like 3 masks at the same time? Like that just sounds like.
So he's playing that he's scared because he's in this crashing ship, but he's like, I could literally fucking stop this ship.
I could just lift the ship and just land it.
Like, but I love the whole time he's just like, what's going to happen? Like for all these people.
No, my Jedi friends.
And there, there's people that have maybe didn't really know the actors and they didn't realize that actor was.
It's funny because I thought about that during the last movie. Like there were kids who didn't know.
They didn't. They didn't even think about it.
You know what I mean? Like that's an interesting thing to think about.
And so. Anyway, so they do all that, and then he sees her, and then they go. Yeah, you see Grievous talk to him. He says it was a necessary death, and then Sidious is like, "The war's almost over. Don't worry." And then we cut to the Jedi Council.
I think so. There was, unlike the last 2 movies. The last 2 movies had some really had much. Less cuts in terms of there was only really kind of 2, maybe 3 through lines of plot that the movie kind of jumped in between. This one only has 1, but it has lots of little tiny side scenes.
Yeah, it's like because there's I can't remember the order, but there's the Jedi Council meeting. There's the Anakin having the dream. Yeah. And then waking up and talking.
I think that's the next big plot point is his death.
And then there's the whole part where they're like, so he has the nightmare. He talks to her about it and blah blah blah, and then the obvious he tells her, she's like, be honest with me. He tries to deflect, and then she's like, and he's like, you die in childbirth. He doesn't say I had a dream you died in childbirth. He just says straight up, you die in childbirth. Like you die. Yeah. Not you will die or you might die or whatever.
Which it goes back to the original kind of beginning of the fall of, maybe not the beginning of the fall, but in the movies, that was the moment where we saw the Jedi Order. They saw it's like they couldn't see Anakin's future, therefore they're like, well, it's bad. and he saw this dream and he's like, it's true.
You die in childbirth.
And then he just says it with certainty, And
then it cuts to a thing where he's talking to some of the guys from the council, but they're not in the council yet, and they're saying that the Chancellor wants to see him, and they're like, just be chill about the Chancellor, he's, I don't know. And then he sees the Chancellor, and the Chancellor's like, I want you to be my eyes and ears. I want you to be my official Jedi representative.
Which is not, it's not shady at all.
No.
Which it's perfect Palpatine, because he knows it's going to be shady. He knows it's going to create dissent within the Jedi Order. He knows it's going to create more division between Anakin and the Jedi Order. And with Obi-Wan, if he's just like, oh yes, if you could help me, it's great.
Yeah.
He knows it's just going to sow more chaos.
And so he talks to them, and then he goes to the Jedi Council, rightfully so, and tells them what happened. He's like, Chancellor Palpatine wants me to be his dude. I just want to let y'all know that he wants, and they're like, he wants me to be his representative master, and they're like, oh, whoa, brother,
you break my Jedi friend.
No master. And he's like, I am on the Jedi Council, and they're like, yeah, but you ain't a master. And he's like, why? And I'm like, dude, this is the first time I'm like, damn, the Jedi Council is a bunch of dicks.
They are, but I'm telling you, man, it's subtle
Like,
throughout the first two movies, but this one they're just like straight up, just like they're afraid, man. They're like their fear comes to the forefront because they're like, no, we don't want this kid being a master.
And like you said, it's like they play an important part in like all these different things that lead up to him becoming Vader. It's like they're part of the reason that pushes him that way. Like if they would have just accepted him and said, "Yeah, you're the master. You're awesome. We love you."
Honestly, like from the beginning, if they would have just been like, if they would have just felt Anakin's force, whatever, and just seen his uncertain future and been like, all right, we'll work with this clay and we'll be positive. But no, they're not. Like their whole life, with his whole life, they're just afraid of him. His whole life. It's like, of course, that's going to turn someone. That's going to turn someone freaking insane.
You take away their time. So you basically, this is basically the essential thing where you're working a job and they like want to promote you to the title of manager, but you like don't get paid anymore. And you don't get the actual like they're like, well, don't call it like. There's a part in The Office where Michael promotes Dwight to official regional manager or assistant regional manager, but he's like, don't tell anybody about it yet. And it's just like, he's a title. He's like, do I get paid increase? He goes, title change only. He goes, let's just not tell anybody about it. There's like a probationary period, and it's just like, wait, so is this even a fucking promotion? It's like that. Like it's like that basically. It's like you get to do more work, but you don't.
Because at this point, Anakin feels like he's being manipulated, and he thinks it's the Jedi Order, but it's really Palpatine. But the Jedi Order is not helping.
Not really doing him any favors.
No, and not doing him any favors.
So basically, he basically goes, "This is bullshit." And then Samuel L. Jackson's like, "Stand down, sit down." And
sit down.
He's like,
I love that scene.
And then he's like, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
And then you see Obi-Wan. He's like that.
This is so embarrassing.
And part of me is almost like, I almost think that goes maybe either way, because I always feel like Obi-Wan is thinking on the outside of all the problems. And I almost wonder if he's shaking his head. Is he shaking his head because Anakin embarrassed him, or is he shaking his head because that's kind of fucked up that they're like?
I think it's both.
I think he's just
feel
like,
sorry for
this whole situation is really stupid. Like,
I really feel sorry for Obi-Wan, because I feel like in all these movies, I mean, he had this chosen prophecy thrust upon him by his previous master, and he spent his whole life trying his best. He was trained by a gray Jedi basically, and he's trying his best to like mold Anakin, and the Jedi Order is just constantly afraid of him. And I think he's both. I think he's looking at the Jedi Order and he's just like,
he's just like,
why are they doing this?
But he's a little embarrassed by Anakin's outbursts, which is very un-Jedi. But like at the same time, he's like, dude, if you guys would just, why would you give him
the fault of Obi-Wan is he just goes along. He just goes along with it. He could have said something. It might not have done anything. But he could have had his bros back, but he's just because
he doesn't want to look weak alongside like Mace and Yoda. It's like
the masters.
So then we transition to wait.
I think it goes to a scene of just Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Just talking. Anakin and Yoda, and they're talking, and he's telling Yoda about his
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool scene. I actually like it, and
the lighting is
again, the lighting's very heavy-handed, but it's also pretty cool. So it's fine.
It's very stylish. It looks like something that you see like in a comic or something like that. Like, it's very like stark. White, diagonal white. It's whatever. It's stylish. I enjoy it. Bad dream master. Oh my gosh, show me.
Yoda's like, the fear of loss and the fear of, missing this.
Take
bitch.
Your own advice, Yoda. Take your own advice.
Missing this bitch gonna fuck you up later on. But he tells him don't mourn the loss of people, and that death is a natural part of the Force, and that you should celebrate the
which it's a great that's a great, like, I mean, that was Lucas being like, you know what? Forget about midichlorians. I'm just going to bring back the mystical aspect.
He's like, midichlorians, no. It's just not really. It's not
his writing team was like, "Nah, dude." And he's like, "No, nah, dude, take it out."
They never mention it again.
Ever again. Any of the movies. Any of them. It's one of the biggest like fumbles in like lore history. It's just like
because they realize how
midichlorians.
stupid that is, and they're like, this whole mystical thing can be measured like in your blood. Like, come on.
I mean,
it's like if you went to the doctor and they were like, let's see what religion you are. You're Protestant. Congratulations. Like, what? Like,
these mystical things? Yes, you got 0.5 mystical things. That's not the way mystical things work.
Yeah, it's congratulations.
Congratulations, it's a force.
Then we learn that General Grievous doesn't show up on the regular maps, and that he's probably in the Outer Rim. And then they say that he's, probably. And then they say, well, the Kashyyyk is in the Outer Rim, and they're like, well, those are valuable allies. We can't lose them. So Yoda volunteers to go to Kashyyyk with the battalion of clone troopers. I don't really quite understand why they come to that conclusion.
Because they wanted to show Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it's just they're like, well, the Outer Rim, is probably where he's at, and they're like, Kashyyyk's in the Outer Rim.
Yeah,
that
like, do they realize how big the Outer Rim is? Literally, like, the Outer Rim of the galaxy.
Planets, and you're like,
yes.
That one planet with the Wookiees that we've never seen is there, and they're like, whoa, let's go see
billions of
Chewie.
planets. Yeah. It was definitely a way to just be like,
I'll go there.
Chewbacca might be there. Wink, wink.
And then, as far as like continuity, what happens after that? Okay.
I believe the opera scene.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Anakin goes to see.
Which
Palpatine.
It's a memed scene, but it's still a great scene. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of, if not my favorite scenes of dialogue in the entire.
No, that's what I was going to mention. The dialogue in this movie, it's a lot tighter and it's a lot more focused. Like, they say less verbally, but they say more because they have good writers. Basically,
the script is way better, and also Hayden Christensen is. It's so clear from the very beginning of the movie that he's tightened tightened it all up, or they've tightened up the direction.
Well, you know what it is, like, exactly the direction. Because like because I don't know, these movies are a great example of what great concept and bad direction could be, because they had so many great actors in these movies. But if you don't know what to do with actors, then they're just gonna do what you say, and when you say is bad, then it's just gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad now.
Gonna be bad. But yeah, Hayden Christensen, I think he definitely does a good job in this movie.
Yeah, he's finally, I can stomach his performance in this movie. I finally can stomach his performance. And when the worst line of Anakin in the whole movie doesn't come from Hayden Christensen.
Now, at the end, he does have some stinkers, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, he does.
He does have a couple of stinkers. But the opera scene, I love.
We have Palpatine
search your feelings, Anakin.
telling him this story, because basically he knows that he had that dream. Yeah.
Well, he knows. Palps knows that the Jedi Council asked Anakin to spy on him, because
that's right. Yeah,
he knew that would happen. He knew that would happen. That's why that's why he put him on the council, because he knew that they would, play them against each other.
And he tells him, and of course he knows that he's afraid of loss, afraid of losing Padme, and he tells him the story of Darth Plagueis, which is, again, probably it's just because Ian McDermott is such a good actor. Yeah. It's such a well delivered story,
monologue,
monologue, and it's just like it's like chilling and very interesting, and just like it's the music that's playing while he's telling the story.
Yeah, it has this weird space opera, which is ironic, in the space opera playing in the background.
Yeah, it's this very creepy but like very stirring kind of scene where you're just like, oh, I feel wiggly. Yeah. He tells him about Darth Plagueis, who can create life. Yeah. And that was he was his apprentice, essentially.
Yeah. He heavily implied, to the point where it's like,
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't say it straight up.
It's very implicit. It's extremely implicit.
And then Anakin's like, "Bro, I feel you.
Bro,
I hear
bro,
that.
Hook me up with those powers, bro."
And that's one of the few scenes that actually is very convincing on the side of him fully turning, amongst other things. And then we go to where do we go?
First,
Obi-Wan.
Well, I wanted to mention the. Darth Plagueis could create life. I mean, obviously, Palpatine is Anakin's father. Duh.
Whoa!
I actually do subscribe to that theory. It just adds an interesting dynamic, especially later on with the sequels. It adds this really interesting familial dynamic. But yeah, that's my headcanon, that Palpatine basically he's a long con guy, right? What's more long con than learning how to create life from your master, killing him, and then creating a life form in someone and then manipulating his whole life? I don't know.
What? So are you saying that there's multiple incest in this?
Yes.
Not just...
Dude, there's so much. There's layers. There's literally layers of incest. There's different types.
Because there's the obvious incest between Luke and Leia, but then there's the Kylo and Rey incest, and
see, it gives Kylo and Rey a weird sense of incest because she's from a Palpatine line, and but then it's just so Skywalker is also kind of from the, if my theory is right, then the Skywalker bloodline, you can say, came from the Palpatine bloodline as well. But yes, we'll talk about my crazy theory later.
That's theory here.
Yes. I just love that scene because my brain goes aflame with it's Daddy.
So then we cut to
this is the last time that Obi and Anakin see each other as friends. This is when Obi-Wan leaves to go take care of
Grievous.
Takes care of Grievous, and then Anakin's like, "May the Force be with you." It's so sad because he apologized to Obi-Wan for acting up.
That's right.
It's just a sad scene because it's I don't know. That's just seemed oh, they're never gonna be friends. And then he leaves, and then Anakin's face just kind of turns because he obviously just can't stop thinking about this dream because he's like, "Bye, Master. May the Force be with you." And then he leaves, and he's just like.
And he also, I think Obi-Wan gives him a little bit of the cold shoulder, so he's kind of, I think he stews on that too. I think he's just sort of
yeah. Well, because I think subtly, Palpatine is kind of nudging him in kind of, hey, you shouldn't trust this Obi-Wan guy either. He does it ever so subtly. From the beginning of the movie, he's just we don't need him. We don't need him, right?
Yeah, it's clearly that he's going that direction. And then, so that's the last time they're going to see each other. Obi-Wan's heading off to what? So, what confuses me is, what's the planet General Grievous is on?
I don't remember the name.
Not remember the name of it. But
yeah, I don't. I
still don't understand. And maybe I missed something. It still just doesn't make. So they find out what planet Grievous is on. Why is Yoda still going to Kashyyyk?
And why are they sending just Obi-Wan to go take
Yeah, they're like, okay, we got all these Jedis and all these Republic soldiers, but we're gonna send a little battalion with Yoda, and then we're gonna send nobody with Obi-Wan.
Nobody with Obi-Wan. Now, if they were sending Obi-Wan to do recon duty like he did in Attack of the Clones, okay, but no, they're go take care of Grievous. It's he's
there's these lizard guys that you're gonna find that good to ride.
I love those things. The ones that go.
I like them a lot. From an artistic perspective, they're cool. But yeah,
sorry, I can just keep doing that.
Obi-Wan does so much single man reconnaissance in these films.
Yeah.
It's always
imagine
it's Obi-Wan goes off on his own, and that's the story.
Constantly on his own little.
Everyone's where the fuck is Obi-Wan? Oh, he's somewhere by himself doing reconnaissance, shutting down tractor beams or some shit.
Gosh, he is, isn't he?
He's always just off on his own doing some crazy shit. And that's why he's always arrested. Or like he gets
he's
into
always
trouble.
detained. Yeah,
He gets into trouble all the time because they're
always
like
caught.
and then the last time he does it, he
said he
gets
was
killed.
good at it.
Yeah, the last time it's like, I'm sorry, I got killed. What can I say?
I'm from Liverpool now.
I'm from Liverpool. I'm a Beatle.
I'm a Beatle, you know.
All British people sound like Beatles.
All of them sound like they're from Liverpool.
So yeah, he's doing his mission on whatever that planet is, and he's trying to get to Grievous by himself with his Komodo dragon thing.
And then I think it cuts to Anakin still having. He has another vision, but it includes Obi-Wan, which just that must just drive him crazy, right? Because he sees his wife dying in childbirth,
and Obi-Wan's there,
his best friend, and he's just like, I mean, that could be anything, right? But no, his mind is just, which makes me think that it's Palpatine that's kind of, if not giving him these visions, is at least influencing them. Because I
think that there's definitely some
type of influence. But he has another vision with Obi-Wan, and he's just like, you just tell that, just like, I don't know. Just like
it's
just think about this, like,
further down in that
the spiral, because it's like the guilt that he carries from not being able to save his mother, and like he obviously hates that he doesn't show it or say it, but he hates the Jedi for just taking him away from his mother, and then not. I mean, we don't understand about the Jedi. When you become a Jedi, you're disconnected from the world. Like you're basically you're a monk. So like they take him away from his mother.
And then they don't let him.
They don't let him visit her. And then he has a vision. He has to, like, his person that he stalks ends up being like, "Hey, let's go check out your mother." And he's like, "Okay." And then she dies. And I don't know. I can just all these things, like, it's like, yeah, he would eventually believe that the Jedi are the bad guys. Like, it could have been handled better, plot wise. But I think they do a good job by the end of this movie. Some of it's kind of ham-fisted, like he turns evil and he's like, "I'm going to kill children now." But like, I don't know. I can believe that this person would see the Jedi as the bad guys.
Yeah.
At least they do that, right? I mean,
it's like it's a little bit heavy-handed, but at the same time, it's believable to an extent, and it's fine compared to so much other shit in the prequels. That's
which,
fine.
You know what? If they had to get one thing right, it's the reasons for Anakin turning to the dark side. At least they got that pretty well. But yeah, Obi-Wan jumps down and he's like, "Hello there." Classic Mimi. Classic Mimi. I do love that line though. It's just like, "Hello there." He's like, "I'm gonna kill you now." And then they have their
and then we finally see Grievous's.
I like Grievous a lot. Grievous. I always say Grievous. But yeah, I like Grievous a lot.
Grievous, I kind of have a weird relationship with him. I think he's a extremely badass concept.
Oh yeah.
I think his cartooniness is a little, like, almost too much for me sometimes. But I love the idea of.
He's very much like a mustache twirl.
Yeah, he's just like, because he came after Dooku. And I feel like Dooku was a stronger villain, and I feel like Darth Maul was a stronger villain. So he feels, and obviously, of course, they needed some sort of filler villain in this one because it's kind of like, well, we already know Darth Sidious is kind of the main villain, and so is Anakin.
They needed
some other bad
story-wise, like the Republic needed a face for. The some type of face that Palpatine could be like, "We need to take him out, even though I'm controlling him." Wink, wink.
Yeah, and so he's the least, like, cool bad guy in this trilogy. In terms of
characterization, yes, he is.
But he
design wise
is very cool.
I love his design.
Oh yeah. I mean, the fact that he's a robot that a droid that has fucking, like, respiratory. He was
a dude who became a cyborg, basically. Which is, I mean, I like it conceptually because it's like, I just wish that, like, Anakin would fight him instead of Obi-Wan, because it's like. The concept of Anakin fighting what he would become, in a sense, would be visually cool, at least.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what they're going for, like to introduce this concept of a cyborg. But it's like disappointing. I've heard he's much better in the show in terms of
I've seen out. There's a few Grievous things in the show that they sort of fleshes him out, and it sort of again it's the same with Dooku. It just makes him seem a little less like a one note like bad guy, and he has a little bit more to him. But in the movie he's just like, I am bad guy. I
am bad guy. I am Russian now. I do love his death though. Like his like Obi just like shoots him in the freaking chesticles, and like his heart catches on fire, and he's like,
oh, that's so cool.
Well, that's like one of the most like graphic things I think I've ever seen in a Star Wars.
This movie is the most graphic of all the Star Wars movies. It's just really fucking dark. Yeah, and
very dark.
I think they already knew that they were going to have to do a PG-13 with this one. This was going to be the first PG-13 Star Wars movie, so they were like, well, why not run with it? Let's catch the fucking droid's heart on fire and shit. So he dispatches Grievous after a pretty cool battle, and he has the four, is it 4 arms or 6? It's 4 arms.
It's 4.
Yeah. And he's the twirling lightsabers, which is really interesting because he's a droid. Is he he's not a guy though? He's not a human.
No, he's a guy. He's not a human. He was an alien organic.
Do we know what creature what race he was?
I looked it up once before.
I think I've tried to as well, and I don't think I think it's inconclusive.
Yeah, in terms of like, I think the name of the species is like, canon, but I could never find what he looked like beforehand. I've just seen like fan art of what he looked like before.
Yeah, I always thought it was so cool. You just seeing the organic matter through his like his eyes and just, like some of his organs and shit. The fact that he's always coughing, and it's like he's not. It's like he's not this perfect being. He's like sick and shit. Like it's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It was not fleshed out nearly enough for them to. It's almost like I kind of wish Grievous, if they would have given. Okay, here we go. Here's my idea. Give Count Dooku, give General Grievous the voice of Christopher Lee, and make him Count Dooku, and just make him like the bad guy throughout like the first 2 movies, and then have him get dispatched by like Obi-Wan or Anakin at the point when he does, instead of killing off Dooku in the very beginning. Just have him kill some like random other Sith guy, or
just swap their roles, like have Grievous be Count Dooku in a sense in terms of like lore wise. Introduce him in the first movie, kill him off in the beginning of the third movie. Have Anakin kill him off in revenge, killing off the cyborg, which would be nice and symbolic. And then we can have like Grievous. And at that point, we don't even need this Grievous character. We need him in a plot sense because, like, the Republic needs, something to attack. But you can just have, like, I don't know, the way they set up the story, like, you have to have this secondary, you either have to have a secondary villain to fill the void, or just not have Anakin kill someone in the beginning of the movie. But plot-wise, you need to have him kill someone because it bookends the movie. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what they could have done, but they could have swapped some roles around.
Think of Grievous with Christopher Lee's voice. I mean, that would have been so cool.
That would have been super weird.
If Christopher Lee, because he's an awesome. His voice is so cool.
Yeah.
And anyways, whatever. That's all just like editorializing and shit. But like, anyways, so we have him dispatch Grievous. Yeah, his heart blows up, and he fucking really cool. And then Obi jets away from that planet.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing seems a little. It just seems a little. It's like it feels like it's almost like some padding or something. Like it feels,
I don't know if it's padding. It feels like it's just like.
I wouldn't call it padding. I would call
it feels like they just like set up. They set up this Grievous character because they the plot dictated that they had to kill Dooku, and they still needed a face of the separatist movement.
Yeah, and so, I guess what better at this point than a half droid? Like
so like I get why they did it, and they had to show him be killed, but why not take out that scene with Obi-Wan for some reason, one man like Ramboing his ass, and just take him like put Grievous at the end on Mustafar, and then have Anakin fight him at the end with all the rest of the people.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would have been fine with that. But yeah, it jumps to oh boy,
is it Kashyyyk now?
No, I don't think they're there yet. I think this is the my note here is this is like when the Jedi's kind of start. I mean, the whole movie, like the Jedi are obviously starting to like distrust Palpatine.
Chancellor, yeah.
But I mean, they're distrusting him as a politician. But I think it was Yoda, like Yoda and Mace. They start like sensing that like, dude, like he might be the Sith Lord. They don't say it out loud, but like they're like. So like either they're like, I don't know, Palpatine's either he's growing in power, letting. So I think he's like letting some of his power out, so to speak, or like letting them feel him, so they could be like, hey, we need to go arrest him. So then the whole Anakin thing could happen. Yeah. Again, like this is just he did that on purpose. He's just like,
oh no, still, look, that's right. We're still at Coruscant, and they realize that it is basically like they're pretty sure that it's Palpatine.
Yeah, they're pretty sure they just don't trust the guy. And then Anakin goes to Palp's office, and then they have the whole like scene where like Anakin learns that he's the Sith Lord, which I like that scene because like you can tell immediately how conflicted Anakin is when he finds out. Because like first he's like immediately just like, I have to take you in or I have to kill you.
Hell nah, bro. No.
But then like he's like you can just tell he's like, but because if he was bent on doing it, he would have done it. But he doesn't. He like immediately he's just kind of like lets him talk more because he knows. Palps knows that
exposition, please.
Well, because like Palps knows that Anakin wants to know what he knows, so he's just like, "Oh, what are you going to take me in? Oh no!" So of course Palpatine isn't afraid to tell Anakin because like he knows that Anakin is going to be like, "Teach me," or at least he hopes, which plans out pretty well. But yeah, he learns that he's the Sith Lord. He goes to Mace and he tells him that he's the Sith Lord, and they're like, "Knew it! Gosh darn it,
we got it!" And they're going to arrest him.
Now, before the arresting scene, probably like one of my favorite like character moments in the movie. Maybe one of my favorite moments in the prequels, where it just shows there's no talking. There's just like a stirring John Williams piece, and it's just like Padme and Anakin just staring out at the sunset for the last time, and like they're looking at each other, not in a literal sense, but like the two characters are looking out the window, and like she just gets sadder and sadder, and then he just gets angrier and angrier, and it's just like it gets darker, like the sun just sets on their two faces. I just love that scene. It's just like an actually well acted scene with no dialogue.
Well, it's because for them to have chemistry, they just need to not talk to each other.
I don't know. This is what I mean by Hayden Christensen. He's not the best actor, but like I feel like he acts with his face a lot of the times. Especially in this scene, just kind of like because the whole scene is just acted with his face, and you can see him just like look out in sadness, and then just slowly just descends into anger, and I don't know. I like that scene a lot. And he has a little Sith tear.
That'd be a good band name too.
Ooh, that is a good one. Sith tear.
We are all Sith tear.
We're so sad. And then here kind of like the arresting scene with Mace and then two nondescript Jedi people. Which I'm sorry, but if you're going to arrest,
why did they only send like? Yeah, I don't know if they know he's a Sith Lord, and they sent just two
the first Sith Lord in a millennia.
The whole Jedi Council would have been there, man. Like
they would have surrounded the building, but no, they just walk in and they're just like, "You're like under arrest, dude." Oh,
yeah, and then Mason and Palpatine get into it.
Yeah,
and then
can we talk about how much I love Palpatine's fighting style. I know it's kind of like made fun of because it's just like this really weird, like I don't know. I just like that he uses like he's just like this little decrepit old man, kind of like Yoda in a weird sense. That's why the battle between them they work so well, because he's just like, I'm just a nice old man, and he's just like, it's treason then, and then he's just like you hear this like ethereal screech. He just like screeches and he just twirls towards them, and he has this fighting style, which funnily enough, Rey kind of uses the same kind of fighting style, like a lot of like jabbing, or like Palpatine just like he just like goes in like he's he's a madman. It's just like a nice little like juxtaposition between this kind old man and then his Sidious side is just like pure, just like just pure rage. Like he just screeches and stabs. That's what he does.
Savage striking.
I love that.
He clearly lets Mace Windu. He lets him win, and he has and Mace has him down, with the saber to his neck, and he's like,
drop
again,
your sword.
He's like, he's too, we need to. And Anakin's like, we need to bring him in. He rushes in, and we need to bring him in.
He's too dangerous.
He's too dangerous to be left alive. Again, very heavy-handed, but it's fine.
I don't mind it. I like that kind of symmetry.
Yeah, it's again that it works. Like I'm not gonna start judging the good fucking movie too harshly.
Like, just thank you for giving us one, just at least one.
You gave us a good one. And then of course, forget, Mace deflects the lightning that he shoots at him back at him with his saber, which is pretty cool. We've never seen that happen. We didn't know that a Jedi could do that.
Do that with a saber. Yeah.
And I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that Mace Windu fights with that like half dark, half light side. Like he fights with some dark side. Yeah. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. If they've ever gone in, I'm sure someone's gone into that. But
yeah, I'm sure someone's. Yeah, like there's just surprisingly
back at a Sith Lord is fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of the lore on Jedi fighting styles. It's really kind of ridiculously impressive. It's like, ooh, all right, why not? It's cool.
That's a rabbit hole you can go down to.
For real.
Till fucking 6 a.m.
One thing I love about that scene, about the electrocution of Palpatine, it's like you have a villain or a perceived villain from Anakin. You have Mace attacking Palpatine. He seems to Anakin, he's attacking him. He's deflecting this lightning. He's the only choice to save his wife, right? And he has to make a choice. So he saves Palpatine out of fear. I mean, I don't want to go. I kind of wanted to save this for Return of the Jedi, but I was watching Return of the Jedi last week, and it's echoed again at the very end of that movie, where you have Palpatine striking down Luke with lightning, and Anakin standing there, and he has to make a choice. He has to make a choice between continuing with his master or saving his son. It's just like a beautiful little like bookend. Just like, really why have I never seen that before? That's freaking beautiful.
For some reason, I've never thought about that
either. And I felt like an idiot. I'm like, what?
Anakin watching,
because that was the defining moment of his life. Was like, how afraid am I going to be? Right?
And he has to make a choice. Yeah. And the man he chose to save the first time is the one he chose to throw, fucking kill.
The first time was in fear to save his family, and then the second time was hope to save his family, to sacrifice himself to save his family. It's
an old hope.
I love Star Wars. An old hope. I love, especially the end of Return. I'm glad they echoed the end of Return, because that's like one of the best moments in
the end of the Return movies. is the best. I say what you will about that movie, and we'll get into it when we review it. But the end of Return of the Jedi is the best moments of Star Wars, just bar none.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It really is. It gets me every time. Every time me and Mercedes watch it, we cry. We're just like,
I cry out my fucking butt. I cry out my pee-pee.
like when they take his mask off and he's like, I wanted to look at you with my own. I'm
eyes.
like, turn it off. I'm gonna start crying. Right, we'll get to that.
God damn, the acting is so.
But
good.
I do love how that's echoed in this scene. I think.
So then we have Mace, and he's just like, we can't.
He's just
dangerous to be left alive.
He's
and then you hear, no, we cannot gloss over. No. Like, man, it's so funny. I know that's another meme-worthy thing.
Yeah,
that's dude. I still like that part a lot.
Oh yeah,
it's so fucking creepy and just.
Yeah. Well, again, you see, it's just like a perfect juxtaposition because you have Palpatine, this cute old man, unassuming. Oh, I will throw off my yoke of power when this is over. And then you have Sidious, who's just like this childish, like just pure desire and passion and anger. And he's just like, no power. And it's just like, that's what you are. That's what you are really inside. That's just
when he's cornered, he's just the vicious parasite.
Yeah.
Like he's like the Lavos or whatever. Like he's like the he doesn't have like. It's like he's extremely intelligent and he's got all these plans, but if something is just slightly off, he'll just go straight into survival.
But again,
parasite mode.
Did he really though? Because
we don't know. Because it could still be him playing.
Because I think at that point, whenever Anakin disarms Mace, like at that point, Palps knew. He's like, all right, my plan's finished.
Yeah, and then
now the mask is off. Yeah, the mask
lightning out
off.
the window, and I fucking hate that scene so much because I like Mace Windu a lot, and to me that was such a shitty way for him to die. Just like getting the lightning out the window, like he doesn't even get killed by.
Yeah, they could have like shown his like flesh rip off or something cool. Except
it's kind of the first, to me, it's like the first real cheesy, weird kind of moment in the movie as far as action sequences go. It's just sort of like, I'm like, okay.
Maybe they killed him off screen to potentially bring him back.
Yeah.
Sometimes writers do that, you know?
I'm never a fan of just tossing someone off of a ledge or out a window or whatever.
Oh, you must hate the Final Fantasy series. Because there's a character that falls. It's like a trope. Like there's a character that falls a long distance and somehow survives.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, in 7 that happens. Like
it's like everyone. It's crazy.
Everyone falls like 1,000 feet and they're just like fine. That's why I always say, I'm like, unless you see someone die, they're not dead, and if they fall, they're not dead. And even Darth Maul, he fell, and we saw him, half of his body.
That's what I'm saying. I think they wrote that as a failsafe, just in case they wanted to bring that character back.
I think you're right. So then,
because there's no way they would kill off such a bad. It's Samuel Jackson. What the hell? But yes, then Anakin's like, please teach me, and he's like, you will be my apprentice, Darth Vader. And then he calls up his clone troops. This is really messed up when you think about it, because it's just implicit in this action, but he just says a word. He says a magic word: execute Order 66, and his little chips in the clones' brains, they just, I have to kill all my friends now. That's terrible. And that would be even more terrible if they were conscious through the whole thing, but they couldn't control.
Wait, he does this before we go to Kashyyyk? We skipped Kashyyyk.
There's nothing really happens.
Nothing really. That's kind of my problem with that whole thing, with the whole Kashyyyk thing. It feels like they just do it, and there's a little bit. There's a battle, but I can't even.
It's just to be like.
It's just there for Yoda to ride on Chewbacca.
Pretty much it. Pretty much. Hey, we went to Kashyyyk. We went to Kashyyyk once, okay? It's like, stop trying to redeem the holiday.
Every time I watch this movie, I'm always like, oh yeah, they go to Kashyyyk and see Chewie. Like I always forget that because it's such a weirdly forgettable thing. I don't know. It's fine. It's cool.
And the whole Yoda met Yoda met Chewie. It's like, but they don't even meet again in the
Yeah,
the following movie. So it's like, why have them meet?
One of those. That's another.
Why
one
have
of those.
them meet if they're never gonna meet again?
Like, I get that Star Wars is filled with coincidences and stuff, but sometimes they force coincidences that are just like, we didn't need that. We didn't need that. No one's like, dude, Yoda and Chewie should be friends, like, for real. It's like, okay, I guess, sure,
I'll
fine.
agree with you on that one. It's just like,
it didn't ruin the movie or anything, but it's just like,
well,
okay.
It's like Lucas had to be like, okay, I'll make some concessions, guys, but we gotta have Wookiees in this movie. We gotta have Wookiees.
Yeah, it's like, it's basically
right,
they were like, Wookiees. I'm still trying to think. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know what that even plays into the main plot, other than at the end when you see the soldiers being shot on the
only thing I can think of is like
when the Order 66 is
for Yoda to be away when Order 66 happens,
and that they show him with the Wookiees as it's being executed. So it's like he's obviously survives, but
it's
I don't know. It's weird.
It's paper thin. But yeah, Order 66 happens.
Order 66.
Because like think about it, like. I don't remember how long the Clone Wars was. It was a couple years, like say like 2-3 years. Like these clones fought and died next to these Jedi. I mean, I've seen a bit of the Clone Wars, and there's a good sense of camaraderie.
Oh yeah, a lot of a couple of the reoccurring clone characters, like the generals and stuff that are like reoccurring, like Rex and
Commander
stuff.
Cody.
They're like real bonded characters with these Jedi.
And then think about those characters, and then a Palpatine just flicks a switch, and then they all just kill their friends. That's really messed up.
Luckily, in this movie, we didn't have any memorable Republic soldiers, but I would like to know more about. Yeah. Do these establish canon good guy the ones that rise above, like General Rex and stuff like that? Do they turn two, or do they maybe
they do? I think they do, because I think there's only a couple that don't in lore, but I think the great tragedy is they all
watch no Clone Wars because we bad Star Wars fans.
I'm not a big TV guy. I want to watch it one day, but yeah,
I
like movies because I can just sit down and be like 2 hours, I'm done.
I like my TV to be like Mandalorian, where it's just 8 episodes of 30 minutes. Clone Wars, the first season's 20,000 episodes.
Oh gosh, I know, and it's not all filler, but I couldn't get past the first season. I'm just there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of filler in there. So then we execute Order 66.
Yeah, Palpatine.
We see the montage.
He goes to the the Senate building. And he's like, look with the Jedi I've done to my beautiful body. You like that impression? And
and then they vote to give executive power.
Yeah, they vote to have him be the emperor, basically.
And then Padme says, "This is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause."
Thunderous applause.
It's a great line.
It's a great line. This movie has some really good writing in it.
That's how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's short, it's concise, it's memorable. It's what the dialogue should be.
Yeah, that was really cool. He gets executive power. He does the Order 66, and then we get a montage.
So it's a montage of
all these
the tragedy of.
You see all these different planets and all the different places of where the Republic soldiers just start turning on the Jedi and gunning them down. Some of them fight back better than others, and obviously a handful of them survive. Obviously,
I like the scene where Bail Organa flies to the core, and then this preteen Jedi youngling, probably 13 or 14, is just trying to fight off these clone troopers. And he just gets killed right in front of Bail Organa, and Bail Organa's like,
"Yeah,
I'm good." They're like, "Leave." He's like,
"It's really sad."
All right.
This whole montage is really sad. It's just it's every time it always gets me. I'm just like, this is fucking depressing. Yeah. And then we see the whole montage, and we see Yoda on Kashyyyk, and he obviously flips around and cuts off their heads and shit.
Immediately.
He obviously is not going to be taken by that shit. But then And then we, at the end of the montage, we see Anakin, right? He's going into the young, where the younglings are, and you just see like him like open the door, and like all the younglings are like, "Hello," and then you don't really see what happens, but or he just turns on his lightsaber.
Yeah.
That maybe we'll get into that, but yeah, I always felt like that was a little too far. I don't
him killing younglings.
I just don't feel like that fits with something. Like, he just turned.
Yeah, it's definitely a tonal change.
It's like, I know really when he goes straight from like being like a borderline Sith to just like all the way to fucking 100. You know what I mean? It's just like, really, that's what you're gonna do.
I think what they're like, again, like, I mean,
they wanted you to know that that was point of no return. Like, he's literally never coming back.
And plus, I think it was supposed to like reference him killing the Tusken children. Like, but it's just like immediately. Of course, I don't know how Sith power works. Like, I don't know if you just. I mean, his eyes were yellow. Look, I don't know how this works. Maybe he just went "quote unquote" evil mode. I don't know. It is breakneck. It is breakneck though, because it's just like he's like go to the Jedi temple and do bad stuff, and he's like, "Tight, I'll kill some children. That sounds cool."
yeah. I mean, I feel like it would have been more effective if he would have like killed some like more like apprentice level Jedi or something. You know, like. It just feels like he just goes straight to the worst thing. It's like Sidious would have been,
or at least. I mean, he went in there to kill all Jedi, but it's more of like the director chose that moment to show, because he went in there to kill everyone, but it's like the director was like, no, we need to show him kill the younglings specifically, and it's like, I get it, like he had to kill everyone. They could have softened it though. They could have like had a lead up, like had him kill. Yeah, like maybe have him like get younger and younger and younger instead of just like I'm walking in, I'm killing children.
It feels like he's like Darth Vader's like, I need you to kill a lot of Jedi, and he's like, ooh, can I kill the kids first? And he's like, oh, what a good little
I like you.
He's like, I was going to volunteer that myself because you're
like, oh, you're such a go-getter.
Gold star, anything. So
gosh.
so he kills the younglings, and then we
not the younglings.
Then we cut to man, I get hazy. Towards the end of the movie, like you said, there's a lot of cuts in this movie, and I get hazy as to like exactly what happens at certain points.
But luckily, this movie has a really simple plot, which I think it's to
as simple as it's been.
Which I think it's to its positive. Like, I like that this movie is just like it's like cool action sequence, and then the rest of the movie is pretty much just like political intrigue. Like actually good political intrigue, like personal political intrigue, and then large scale political intrigue, and then it's just like boom, collapse, then like the depressing ending, and then a fight in the end. Like it's a really simple story. It's like nice.
Do we? Okay, so what happens after Order 66?
This is the part where Obi-Wan goes to Obi-Wan meets with Yoda, and then Obi-Wan's like, I need to see what happened. And then Yoda's
he shows him the video footage.
Yeah.
You should not watch this. It's very bad.
It's very like you will not see it thing you on TV thing screen hologram. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and then he watches his apprentice fucking like murdering children. And he's like, "Well, this is bad. This is no good.
This is no good, Yoda."
Yoda.
And then Yoda's like, all right, dog, you need to go take care of Anakin, and I'm going to go take care of Sidious.
Take care of Palps.
Obi-Wan's like, I cannot kill my brother. And he's like, well, you sure ain't going to be able to kill Sidious.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, well, let me tell you one thing. He going to be easier to kill than this other dude. So,
Trust me, my dude.
Let me tell you.
So he doesn't know where Anakin left, so he goes to Padme to figure out where he might have gone off to.
And she's like, why?
Yeah, he's like, what? Because Anakin left earlier. He'd left. He's like, I got to go to Mustafar to end the war, which is funny. If he wasn't so loose-lipped, like, who knows what would have happened? You know what I mean?
And then Padme's like, why? And then he shows her the video. right?
I don't remember. I don't think he actually shows her the video. I think he tells her,
or does he just tell her? I'm blanking on the end part.
I don't think he shows her the hologram. That'd be messed up. Hey, here's a hologram of your husband killing children.
Hey, I got this new movie you should watch. Check it out.
But of course, on the other hand, it's like
what
what a thing to like. How do you sell that? Like, hey, your secret husband just killed a bunch of children.
But she does know.
Yeah, I think she fails it.
Either he tells her or he shows her. I don't remember.
I honestly do not remember how she becomes concrete. Like, yes, I believe you, but she believes him. Either she believes him or she's like, I gotta go find out. I think she's like, I gotta go find out. I gotta go talk to him.
And then I think she does watch the video, doesn't she?
I don't remember.
She ends up watching the hologram. Anyways, she may not. Comment below.
I love that moment where this is like, it's sad because like at this point the dialogue just kind of starts slipping. Because like I just that scene always makes me laugh where she's like not the younglings, and then Obi-Wan just like turns to the camera and he's like, he killed younglings. And it's not delivered very well. Like there's a couple of other lines at the end of the movie,
if Ewan McGregor has a bad line that is absolutely the direction.
That is absolutely
right? Because he is so good.
He's a great actor.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he is. He was made to be Obi-Wan. So if it's anyone's fault, it's Lucas and his.
Yeah, because his delivery, he's taken some turds and turned them pretty decent. So,
so yes, and then he basically sneaks on to Padme's ship because he's like, ooh, she's gonna go visit him, so I'm just gonna sneak on. And then they go to Mustafar, and then she comes out of the ship and she's like, Anakin, I missed you. And then they have some dialogue, and
he's like, "Oh, babe, like this might be awkward or something."
He's like, the war is over, and it's like, and then who comes out of the ship?
Obi-Wan,
freaking Obi, of course. And then his mind is just like,
brought him. Why is he here?
It's so fun. I think they could have like done it a little better, but I like the slow, subtle turning against him against Obi-Wan. It's very subtle in the movie, like it's just that Palpatine just kind of like places here and there. He's like, who the hell is this guy doing here? It
starts in 2, anyways, because he starts kind of. But anyways, and then they comes with the whole thing where he's like, we're I'm ending the war, blah blah blah, and she's like, this is not what I want, basically, he's like, you're either with me or you're against me. And she's like, you're fucking breaking my heart, bro.
Yeah.
You're breaking my heart, Anakin. And then he fucking starts...
Going somewhere I can't follow.
And then he fucking starts force choking her.
Good dialogue, yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's it, bro. I mean, you killing kids is one thing. You choking this cute girl.
Well, it's a more... See, that's you're right. Like, they could have either like built up to the child killing, not had it at all, because I feel like a build up to him choking the person he's turned to the dark side for.
That's my thing.
So much heavier.
It's enough. It's plenty. It's plenty. We didn't really need him, and I get it. I think the children there killing thing is so. Padme will just be like, dude, tell me it's not true. Like it's enough for her to follow.
It's an impetus for her to be like, I need to figure out if this is true.
I think if you just would have said like he turned to the Sith, he helped kill. That seems like Mace it would be Windu. Enough. He cut off Mace Windu's arm. Like what are you talking about? Like that's a plenty. Again, that's
enough of an impetus for her to go figure out what the heck is happening.
Him to kill Samuel L. Jackson and to choke Natalie Portman is plenty.
Yes, that's enough that I need to know to be like, he's a bad guy now.
Yeah, but no, we had to have murder children.
And then Obi-Wan and Anakin exchange dialogue, and then this is when Hayden Christensen's dialogue kind of starts dropping, where he's like, it's just tonally like Obi-Wan just says something, and then I forgot what he says. It doesn't even matter what he says, because then this Anakin's just like, don't make me kill you.
Don't make me kill you.
He doesn't say, like, he just says, it's like this weird atonal, like, don't make me kill you. It's not a good line.
That's where I don't like Hayden's acting is when he does that mid range, because like when he's yelling, I'm fine with it, or when he's like quiet, I'm fine with it. He has this weird mid range thing that I don't like. It's just like it just comes off strange.
Yeah, of course this might just be direction, because honestly I've never seen him in any other movie, so I don't know. It might just be
Lucas's, might be a reason.
Great. It might just be Lucas's direction. I don't know.
There's a lot of people that didn't get cast after after these movies.
So they have the little fighty fight. And Obi-Wan's,
so
only
as
the
they're fighting, we're jumping back and forth between that fight and the Emperor and
Yoda.
And they're fighting really cool fight that's happening in the actual
Senate room,
the Senate room, and so they're actually like using the Senate chairs and shit as like throwing on each other.
Symbolism.
This fight's
symbolism,
redonkulous and just so over the top, but it's fun.
It's great. I love it because it's like the first full on Force fight we've seen. Like we've seen lightsaber duels with Force added in, but like this one's like, they kind of use lightsabers sometimes. Most of the time, they're just like jumping ridiculously and throwing things at each other. It's like, yeah.
This whole fight is basically just one long CGI scene, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It works.
Again, this is one of those fights to me that it's so like it was something. It's very like this was very like fan fan service, like because it didn't need to happen.
No, it didn't need it at all.
Because all Darth Sidious needed to do was be like, I got everything I need and I'm gone. Like he just needed to leave. He didn't need to fight anybody after that. He did. His plan was complete.
Yes. As much as I love the Yoda Palpatine fight, it is kind of a detriment.
Narratively, it makes no sense.
Well, like it's a detriment because it takes we already have the ultimate fight, like the fight that we've been waiting for since we were like preteens.
Yeah.
Like
Obi-Wan
versus Darth Vader. Like this is it. This is like the moment that we've been waiting for.
Yes, I was a little kid,
volcano.
I knew that Darth.
That was
Vader
the only thing we knew
Vader from falling in a volcano. Like I knew that.
That's all we knew.
And so
but we get interrupted by this like narratively important, critical fight by like, no, this is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And to me, I would have totally opted for that movie to be 10 minutes shorter without that fight in it. It's visually appealing, it's cool, and it's Yoda versus Palpatine. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, but it doesn't really. It just feels another. It feels some like extra stuff on there.
I feel like Lucas is, like I said before, he's a great action director, and when he does those layered action sequences, they're always enjoyable to watch.
They are.
But I feel like he added it just because he likes doing it. He's like, well, we've got to have a multi-action sequence. We got to have a multi-action. Come on, it's Star Wars. It's like,
and what's cool
can we have just one with this? Just with this movie, can we just have this one important?
It would have been much more intimate had they not
it would have been
away from this fight.
Honestly, the as much as I enjoyed the Mustafar fight, it's too long as it is, man. It's a long fight.
It's a long fight.
It's really
long. It would have been fine. It probably would have felt less long had the movie been cut a little bit and it just just focused in on them.
Yeah.
And they could have been a little more, but again, the fights, it's still really good. Both the fights are very entertaining to watch, of course.
Yeah, it's not like we're not complaining about the content. We're just its use. And the context, it's like, oh, why?
You know what would have been great if they'd started the fight like Yoda and Palpatine, and then they fought for like a few seconds, and then Palpatine's like, I don't need to do this, and he's like, why am I doing this? And he just fucking throws something at Yoda and then like takes off.
Or like Yoda
that would have made more sense.
Yeah, like Yoda just lose because I don't want to jump too far ahead of the movie, but point comes after this where Yoda's just like, I need to take my failures and I need to just go in exile. And like that would have been even more effective if like he went up against Sidious and Sidious just kicked his ass, like just like almost immediately, and then Sidious just jumped left. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been handled better. It's still cool. It's still entertaining.
Yeah,
it's still
the content's still.
But anyways, so we get this really visceral fight between Obi-Wan and
I like how their style. They've obviously like. I mean, they trained with each other their whole lives. Their fighting styles are practically mirrored. It's like they're just like constantly countering each other. I really like the choreography is awesome. It's a little jumpy sometimes, but like I like how they're just like the same.
Yeah. I liked how clear, like it's two blue sabers fighting. You don't see that very often.
No,
and because the background is the volcano, is Mustafar, is so red. It's like the environment is what's carrying the like dark vibe. Because clearly they're both using blue sabers still. And so that was cool. That was just an interesting choice, and it works lore wise because they're supposed to be in a volcano. So that was cool. And then of course the infamous Mimi.
So many
don't fucking do it. I have the fucking high ground.
I don't do it, okay. But I like, again, like we go back to Phantom Menace. I mean, that's the lesson he learned from Maul, right? He's like, he's like dark-sided users, Sith people. They're always cocky. All you got to do is just be like, no, you can't do this. I have the high ground, and just wait for them to jump over you.
Do you think that he was kind of egging him on when he said that, or do you think he was really saying
he did it knowing that Anakin, that he did it to goad him, and he knew Anakin would do it, but he didn't want Anakin to do it because he didn't want to kill his best friend, brother. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to have to do it, but he knew, since they were so equally mounted, like this was going to be the only way he could take him down. Again, like Obi-Wan's a very conflicted character because he's just like he has to do this, and he knows he knows how to do it too. He's just like, thanks to Maul, like he knows how to goat he knows how to goat dark side people. So he's like,
I'll say this again: Obi-Wan is the best Jedi, it's. I mean, it's my opinion, but it's also just objectively true because he has won. Like my issue with the prequels too is that it's very convoluted. That like 1 minute he's the best Jedi in the entire world, and then the next minute he's like really weak.
There's some weird powers.
It's just kind of weird because like he fights Darth Maul single-handedly and cuts him in half. He fights General Grievous single-handedly with 4 lightsabers and fucking shoots him in the heart and explodes his body. But then, like, during, like, the Dooku fight, him and Anakin are both fighting him, and then, like, they lose. And the same, again, Dooku, again, like, throws Obi-Wan like a fucking piece of garbage.
It's almost as if Obi-Wan does worse when he's fighting with someone.
It's like he's maybe he's his own, and the only battle he ever loses, like really loses, is on purpose.
Yeah, that's why he's awesome. That's why he's the best.
I mean, because he literally goes,
bye,
like, fucking do it, bro. Kill me, bro.
Again,
I'll become more powerful.
He just goes again. He goes Anakin again. He's like, come on, I got the higher ground, literally.
Yeah. I got the high moral ground.
Yes. But yes, he's like, you were the chosen one. I want to talk about the chosen one prophecy. I got more headcanon about this. I love headcanon about Star Wars.
Love his fucking acting in this part.
Yeah,
I think
you are the chosen one
because it's so,
leave us in darkness.
It's so like operatic and just like theatrical and just it's such a big bombastic, monologue that could have been horrible, because we know that these big bombastic monologues are usually horrible in the prequels. But like Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor is so fucking good at being Obi-Wan, and this is his pinnacle of acting in this thing. This is like his pinnacle of this actor's story as Obi-Wan, and just he fucking just. God, every time I see that part, dude, I get chills when he's doing that monologue, because he was the chosen one. You can see that that disappointment and that sadness and that just like that betrayal in Obi-Wan's
I think he knew. I think he
fucking awesome.
I think he's most sad about his failures. Like he knows he could have done something. He knows he could have stopped this. Like the same thing with Yoda. Like Yoda went the exile because he knows
he went to the X-Files.
He went to the X-Files. He went to exile because he knew he was at fault. He knew that he could have stopped this if he didn't if he took his own advice and stopped being afraid. He could have stopped this. Same thing with Obi-Wan. I think about the Chosen One prophecy. This is just my dumb head canon. I have a bunch of dumb head canon about Star Wars.
I'm a dumb head canon.
Boosh. So the Chosen One, they say that the Chosen One prophecy was to bring balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way I see it, the balance being, light and dark in balance with each other. Light being light, dark being dark. So like light. So once light started bleeding into dark, and dark bleeding into white, hence gray started showing up. You had the Jedi Council starting to be more impulsive and more afraid. Then you had the Sith Lord Palpatine being more calm and more just
patient.
Patient, no passions. So you have this swapping, this upside down scenario in the world setting. So you have the light being the dark now, and the dark being the light now. It's just this weird upside down world. So the gray started causing the imbalance. So the way I see it is Anakin did bring balance, but it was more like Anakin wasn't the chosen one. It was like the Skywalker bloodline is the chosen. Which if Palpatine is responsible for the Skywalker bloodline in some essence, like he's kind of a long-term hero, but that's just weird. But like, so Anakin gets rid of the Jedi Council. He gets rid of light turning to darkness. Later, his son helps him destroy the darkness that's become light. Basically, like the darkness, which is usually associated with chaos, becomes like this super order. And with his son's redemptive arc, he helps bring that back to normal too. So it's like the whole Chosen One prophecy was basically him destroying the unbalanced Jedi and him destroying the imbalanced Sith.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it.
That's pretty cool. I haven't gotten
because I tend to think about the Chosen One prophecy a lot because it's just like dropped randomly, and it's like, and sometimes I think that like it was all made up by the Sith anyway. Like it was just a way.
Well, yeah, it's such a nebulous prophecy.
Yeah,
and you're like, where did it?
Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah,
what? Where? What?
Yeah.
Who says this? Like,
yeah. Part of me thinks that the Sith just kind of implanted it within the Jedi world just to kind of try to control them with some like, again, like I think the Jedi are prone to they're prone to like because they're so afraid of uncertainty. That's kind of their weakness. So they inserted this Chosen One prophecy. That's the most nebulous thing you could think of. Like, ooh, the Chosen One will bring balance, and they're like, oh, something uncertain. But again, that's just a theory, a Star Wars theory.
So, and then we leave Anakin burning and screaming without legs, and an arm. Is he missing?
Yeah, he's missing an arm. Well, he was always missing an arm.
Well, yeah. Did his arm just pop off?
I guess so. It melted. I don't know.
So yeah, he pretty much cuts.
No. He loses his organic arm, and I love it because he uses his robotic arm That's the only thing that gets him out of the fire.
Oh, that's right. He's crawling with his rope. Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
That's actually not nearly as heavy-handed as the rest of it.
No,
but
it's very cool. It's very cool symbolism of the
cold
part of him.
Technically, it is heavy-handed because a metal arm weighs more.
I get it.
So then Obi-Wan leaves him there, and he flies off.
Just straight up leaves him there.
Yeah.
Just leaves him.
And they go back to he basically goes to Padme.
Yeah, I think Padme and basically like the crew get together, so like Padme is bursting with their baby, but it's two babies. Oh my gosh, a twist. But yeah, Bail Organa's there, Yoda's there, Obi-Wan's there, and they're like, all right, what the hell are we gonna do? So Yoda's like, I'm gonna bounce and go find a
I'm gonna go get real high on this swamp planet and just chill out.
See, I have a theory why he goes to that planet, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And then Obi-Wan's like, I'll take care of the child. Out of obvious guilt. It's like.
And then Organa says, "I'll take the other one."
Yeah, we've always wanted a daughter. I was on some cop show in the '90s. Remember me?
And then then she dies.
So then Palpatine goes and picks up Anakin.
That's right, yeah.
It makes you think like, okay, Obi-Wan put a huge wrench into Palpatine's little plan here because Anakin is a lot more powerful than Darth Vader, so to speak. Like in terms of like post destruction of body.
Yeah. We see
when he was Darth Vader. Yeah, Darth Vader became a lot weaker. And if we take into account Palpatine's his even longer game, then like, yeah, that would put a wrench. He's like, man, that was the guy I was gonna body jump. That was the guy. And, Obi-Wan's just like slice, burn. I don't know. I just think it's funny because like, and then they take him in the little like hover thing, and it's like not even covered, just to like so they can have the effect of his flesh sizzling from the rain. Like, I think they'd cover that, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you have the mirror scene of the twins being born, and then Darth Vader being born at the same time. Oh my gosh, symbolism! Dun, dun, dun.
Symbolism, not heavy-handed at all. Yeah, and Darth Vader's things get, and then they have to. I'm not the fan of him breaking out. I don't understand that at all. Like I don't.
Hey, this is a director and writer that has to put a Tarzan yell in every one of his movies. Okay, so don't talk to me about why did he have a Frankenstein moment. It makes perfect Lucas sense.
It's just well, for one, I don't, even if you're a fucking Sith Lord, like how did you break through like metal, like that you're strapped down with metal, like you could, like he's not like,
well, he probably just sensed his wife's life be extinguished, and he's probably super pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been just as effective had he woken up and been like, get me out of here, and then like they like let him out, and he like stood up and he was just like looking at all of his fucking body and shit, and he was just like, fuck.
Well, I do like, he's just like, where's Padme? He's like, you killed her. He's like, no, I just felt her. He's like, you really should have trusted your gut, Anakin.
Yeah, and then he was like, no.
Okay, I don't love the line. I don't even like the line. It would have been better if he would have been like just a guttural scream.
Yeah, just I don't know why it's so.
I like it in a like. I like it.
Such a mid-range. It's such a mid-range. Again, it's that like when you're doing something dramatic like that, it should be something like, nah!
Yeah, he should be like screaming, like bloody murder, screaming.
I mean, they really didn't. You know, I don't know, because I mean, like I said, Hayden Christensen actually is fine when he's screaming.
Yeah,
and like when he's screaming at the end, I'm totally fine with it. But for some reason, they got James Earl Jones to come in and record one line that was, and it's so.
See,
it's just
that's
not
what I mean.
Dramatic enough for me.
That's what I mean when it's probably a Lucas. It's probably a Lucas problem. If they take
James Earl Jones, one of the best voice actors.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like when James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen have the same mid-range blah, I'm pretty sure it's the direction.
I mean, every single time I watch Empire Strikes Back, and as many times, I mean, the most meme line from the entire series is "I am your father," which I know a lot of people say "Luke, I am your father," but he doesn't ever actually fucking say that.
Father.
But when he says it, it's the delivery is what sells that line, because it's so fucking perfect every time. I could watch that scene over and over and over again, because he goes, "I am your father." He does this like weird pause during "father," and it's like such an amazingly delivered line, and it's so fucking awesome.
Can't wait till we get to that movie, because there's a lot of speculation in that. Like
I have a lot. You think that I hated episode 1? Just wait till we get to Empire Strikes Back.
It's the worst movie.
Fuck that movie, and it's garbage, bro. By far the worst movie in the series, for sure.
Then
objective.
3PO gets mind wiped, but R2 doesn't, because he's just an unassuming astrogroid, even though like you know.
We didn't, and that's another thing we didn't need to see. I think we could all just assume.
No. I like that because
I'm just taking one last look at my friend.
No. When it goes into the original trilogy, that like, see that. I don't want to talk too much about the sequel trilogy, but you're not supposed to just be able to understand droids. That's the point of protocol droids. I don't want to get too much into it, but I hate that in the sequel movies, people can just talk to droids for some freaking reason. Okay. I don't want to get too much into it, but like it makes sense in the original trilogy, because it's like they erase 3PO's memory. They don't erase R2's. The only one that could understand R2 is 3PO, and 3PO just constantly dismisses R2. So I don't know. It makes sense that like R2 would kind of be privy to stuff, but 3PO is just like, dude, you're crazy. Why do you just say the weirdest stuff? Because he kind of treats him like that in the original trilogy. He's just like, especially in the first movie, he's just like, dude, you're just nonsense. You're just talking nonsense.
Here's my take on the prequels. I'm okay with R2 being a part of it because he serves purposes. I know
you hate 3PO.
No. I don't hate 3PO, but I think there is no real reason why he is in there. He doesn't really serve any purpose in the prequels. Other than fan service, and I think it would have made it would have worked a lot more for me that their companionship started, in the new trilogy, versus that we've always been buddies and we've always been this buddy cop like duo. It's like whatever, okay. It's.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but at least it's not Yoda and Chewbacca levels of, hey, they were friends.
That's the most glaring.
That's egregious
coincidence shit.
That's just because that's just straight up fan service. Like not even like
because at least 3PO and R2 are both droids and they both like whatever.
It's like, okay, but like, all right.
Yoda and Chewbacca, it's like a Mad Lib, dude. It's like this Star Wars character and this Star Wars character meet up on this planet.
And then they blawed. It's like, ooh, I get to fill it in. Yoda and Chewbacca on Kashyyyk.
Yay, I win. So yeah, and then that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie. It's a good movie. I enjoyed watching it.
It's an enjoyable. It's a much better film than the first two. I subscribe to the fact that I think each movie gets quite a bit better than the one before it.
Oh yeah.
I think this one is the better jump. This one has very, very far and away the easier scenes to watch without being like, oh
yeah, because like it's a simpler plot. It's got better acting. It's got better writing. It's got good action. It's got good drama.
Because the bad stuff in this movie is like
It's
you just sort of go, well, why did they do that? That doesn't really make a lot of sense or whatever. But like, you're never like, oh my God. Like you're never just like, that is so fucking terrible. Like in the first two movies, there's like multiple points where you're just like,
face palm.
Jeebus Christopher. So yeah, I mean, that's our review of Star Wars Episode 3. Do you have anything else to
add? No, I'm ready to get into the original trilogy.
It is, on our scale, a good movie, in my opinion.
I think it's a great movie.
I think, for me, so far, we've had Episode 1, which to me was a bad movie. I think we have Episode 2, which is a fine movie, okay, and then we have Episode 3, which is a good movie for me.
I refuse to adopt your grading scales. I think Episode 1 is an interesting movie. Episode 2, because I mean, like, I talked.
I like your scale so far.
Like, I talked a lot more about Episode 1, and they weren't bad either. It was just a lot of the movie left a lot of room for speculation and stuff, which I like that sort of stuff. So like Episode 1 is more interesting because the world is more interesting. Like there's just more setting in Episode 1, which is ironic because they go to freaking Tatooine. It's like, wow, okay, Tatooine again. But
you mean Naboo is more interesting?
Yeah, or just like, yeah, you just like, I don't know. And then Episode 2, passable. It's
passable. It's a passable action film.
So like first Episode 1, interesting. Episode 2, passable. Episode 3, great.
Great out of 10.
Yeah.
Great point 5.
My grading scale makes no sense.
That's fine. You don't make any sense. So
I have to live with me.
I really hope that every movie is a different word.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
For you. Like I hope that no other movie is great. Like it's just like this one's
hamster.
Hamster.
Hamster out of 10.
This one's cheese fist. You heard it here first, folks. This has been another edition of the Critical Screen Show. We are so glad you came in to join us to talk about Star Wars Episode 3. We finally found a good Star Wars movie. Let's keep watching them and see if we can find more.
A great Star Wars movie.
Thank you, guys. Great point 5. We'll see you next time on Critical Screen. Good night.